Hey, it's not all fire blazing track days. You've got to keep yourself balanced. So last week I was riding a 240 horsepower superbike, and this week I've got 20 horsepower. This is the Royal Enfield Meteor. It's their new 350, kind of comfy cruiser, starter, nervous rider, small bike. It's a small bike. And I'm here to prove that you don't need a million horsepower to have fun. I'm going to take my 20 horsepower and I'm going to put a massive smile on my face. Here's to that. Okay, let's get one thing straight. This is a 190 kilo, 20 horsepower cruiser. It's not about to set anyone's world on fire. But here's the thing, I genuinely believe any bike has the potential to be really good fun. You've just got to embrace it. So today I have had a massive smile on my face, riding, thrashing, wheeling, skidding, and generally hooning around on Royal Enfield's new Meteor 350. The point of this is, there is no point, I just wanted to have fun. The Meteor 350 is supposed to be an entry-level bike, so it's for people upgrading for a 125, it's for nervous riders, new riders, people who just want to step back from big bikes and just have an easier time riding a steady, slow, simple bike. And to do that, what it's got to do, it's got to be comfy, unintimidating, easy to ride, but I think ultimately it still has to have more to it than that. It can't just be easy, simple, unintimidating. It still needs to have some soul, some feel to it. And I think it's got it. So what is it? Well, it's a single cylinder air-cooled 350. It's a small, old school engine. Effectively, if you think of the Royal Enfield Himalayan, or Himalayan, whichever way you want to pronounce it, this is like a new version of that engine. It's a 350cc, but it's the same sort of feel. Development of this bike came largely from the Indian side of Royal Enfield, but this bike has gone through all of the very latest, very rigorous testing procedures that since the UK side of Royal Enfield has opened up, they have kind of brought into the brand. The good thing about that is it means you know you're going to get a solid, reliable, well-engineered motorcycle, and it's built for the Indian market. But that doesn't mean that we can't have fun on it here in Europe. So here's the thing. If I say to you, 20 horsepower cruiser, you've all fallen asleep immediately. But if I say to you, 350cc single cylinder bike that's fun and costs 3,750 quid brand new, suddenly it starts to make sense. If I add a few other figures to that, it's 190 kilos, not the lightest bike on earth, but sensible weight, and it does 100 miles per gallon. It basically runs itself. And at this point you go, well, that's a very, very cheap, economical bike, and if it can put a smile on my face as well, sign me up any day of the week. I'll cut now to a nice little, I won't cut obviously, this is just the thing I say. I'll cut now means Alan, the director, will spend hours and hours and hours in the studio cutting now to a montage of foot peg scraping, wheel spins, some wheelies and general hooning that proves that just because it's cheap, just because it's slow, doesn't mean you can't have fun on it. So what are my favourite things about the Meteor? Number one, it has a toe and heel gear shifter mechanism. So you can change up gears with your heel by pushing down and down gears with your toe by pushing down. Why is that good? It means you can ride it in flip-flops. Yeah? Comments below in the normal section about why you should always ride in boots. But then it occurred to me, that's exactly what it's for. Don't forget, this bike isn't designed just for me, just for the UK, just for us. It's designed for global and designed for India. And in India, people will ride them in flip-flops. So there you go. Flip-flop compatible gear shift. Always high on your list of bike checks if you're in India. Other things I liked about it. I really like the way it rides and feels when you stop being an idiot. Obviously being an idiot's fun on any bike, but it's a really easy-going bike. You just cruise along. It's not got oodles of power, but up to about 60 miles an hour. There's always enough shunt to pass a few cars, and the chassis is far more refined than the price would suggest. I'm not about to jump on this and go and put a lap record time in at Brands Hatch. But what I want from a bike like this, which is supposed to be confidence building, cosseting for a new rider, I want it to be stable. I want it to not bounce off every bump. I want it not to fly all over the road. I want to be able to rattle down a bumpy country lane and not constantly feel like the thing's twitchy and all over the place. And it does that really, really well. You have to appreciate it's still not an adventure bike, so if you go smashing through the sort of potholed roads that I seem to always find myself on, you will bottom the suspension out, but it never seems to get itself wildly out of shape. And for a new rider, that is important. Car park test, slow speed control on the clutch, brakes, all that stuff is smooth, unintimidating, arguably unexciting, but this bike isn't supposed to set your pants on fire. So if you're looking for a bike that's an upgrade from your 125, getting back to biking, new to biking, or just something small and easy to get on with, the Meteor's a winner. Can I pick some holes in it? Yes, I absolutely can. It's not as fast as an R1. All joking aside, as an experienced biker, as someone who rides loads of different things, I can get on this for a day and have an absolute blast. If that was my only bike, I think I probably would want more horsepower in the end. I know that's not what it's designed for, but I just have to be honest with it. I don't want you all to think that I'm telling you to sell your current GSXR 750s and buy one of these. Buy one of these as well and use it to ride to work, but yeah, it's not going to set your world alight if you're used to faster bikes. That said, if you're prepared to have a second bike or you want a cheap runaround, that will put a massive smile on your face every day when you ride it. While we're talking about good value features, these Meteors come with Royal Enfield's turn-by-turn navigation as standard. I think it's called the Tripper, which sounds like a 1990s raver to me, but it's a turn-by-turn navigation system. Link it to the app on your phone, link your bike on, and then it comes up on the dash with this turn-by-turn system. So it's obviously not as good as having a full iPad map on the dash and everything, but what you've got is navigation on your bike for under £4 grand. So you stick your phone in your pocket, there's a USB charger included, so you can plug into the USB charger on the bike. Simple way of navigating without having to have your phone stuck on your handlebars. People always ask, when you're not buying a mainstream bike, by which I mean Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, BMW, when you're buying bikes from the other manufacturers, oh, is it going to be reliable, or is it going to be a safe buy? And it's a great question, and there's two answers to that. The first answer is always, if you're talking about buying a brand new bike, it almost doesn't matter if it's reliable. It does, obviously, but if it breaks, it's the dealer's problem to fix, the manufacturer's problem to fix. So actually, is the dealer network and the retailer support, is that good? So that's the first question to ask, and you'll only find that out by visiting your local shop, getting to know them, seeing if they're reasonable human beings, speaking to other people who've been there. Second question is, is the bike going to be reliable? Royal Enfield, since their kind of resurgence a good few years ago now, they have worked really, really hard to improve the reliability and the build quality of their bikes, both in design, materials, and from like the testing and the development of the bike. This kind of new brand, so like the Interceptor, the Continental, this Meteor, comes from that new era. That stuff takes time to come into effect. A lot of engineering and knowledge from other large UK motorcycle manufacturers, not saying which one, has gone into Royal Enfield, and that stuff reflects in the bikes. That stuff means the quality and the build quality and the reliability gets improved year on year on year. And from the people I've spoken to in that side of Royal Enfield, they're really proud of this, and they're putting their word behind it that it's going to be a solid, reliable, long-lasting motorcycle. I said they should give me one for 100,000 miles, and we'll see about that. It's a lot of bike for the money, so buy one, buy yourself a large number of spare foot pegs so that when you've ground through the tips of them, you can just bolt a new set on and go off scratching sparks into the sunset.